Hey there, welcome to The Boiling Point. I'm your host, Michael Boyle. Everything we do at Altogether Academy is designed to help our community hardwire courage, resilience, contribution, and joy, even if hard times happen. My goal for this podcast is to leave you feeling inspired and empowered with practical, perhaps even profound, ideas and tools to make your life a place worth loving. If you'd like to go deeper and explore a complete and traversable path with maps, tools, instructions, camaraderie, and support, all in one place, you can join the Joyful Excellence Mastermind community, where for a fraction of the cost of typical therapy, you can get so much more. Or you can sign up for our free newsletter, check out our blogs and books, take the 30-day reset from surviving to thriving, all by visiting the Altogether Academy website. Please enjoy this free episode and reach out with any questions or requests for me to speak on certain topics here or to an audience near you. Love to all. Together we thrive.
Wake the lion in the lair. Set the bird free from the cage.
All right, everybody, welcome back to The Boiling Point. Today I'm going to share something that I just created for the 30-day reset from surviving to thriving, which is an online course that people can do on their own that lives on my website, altogether.academy. But the reason why I want to share it with you today is because it's great. And I think it's a unique concept that will get you feeling a different way, that will get you acting in different ways so that you can create new and better results in your life. Without further ado, let me share with you this tool this lesson about how you are the PowerPoint of change. You are the PowerPoint of change. Today's lesson is going to be both powerful and kind. Remember, the zones of growth. In zone 2, where we grow, challenge is uncomfortable. You have activated a challenge mindset. You understand the value of doing so, and that you are looking for the opportunity in the adversity. The PowerPoint of change is the moment. And you can read that as any moment, or also as the moment when you feel compelled to think, feel, and act the way you always have, the way you did yesterday, the way you did 15 minutes ago. And you choose to think, feel, and act differently today, now, next. However, that's the powerful part. That's the potent part. That is the gutsy part. That is the gritty part. But then there's the kindness part. Remembering your grace and ease question. This does not need to be a struggle. In fact, if it's a struggle, you're still in survival mode, most likely under the influence of the cultural demon of should've, could've, would've, ought to, must. This is a mental emotional vice, keeping you stuck. But instead, we follow the grace and ease question that says, what is the next easiest thing that I'm willing to do? Next means it's available now. Easy means it's easy, and I mean it, easy. Willing, I'm totally willing. There's nothing to resist. There's no shoulds. There's no musts. There's no ought tos. There's no whipping myself into shape. Okay? Because what that PowerPoint of change is you. You are the opportunity of the moment, and you are your values and choices. You are not the arising conditions. You are not the reactive personality structure that has been formed as a reaction to anything and everything that has ever happened to you, or to the arising conditions of your body, your environment, or time. And I thank Dr. Joe Dispenza for this terminology that I'm borrowing. Your body, environment, and time. In order to change, we must think differently than the arising conditions in our body. What do I mean by that? I mean, feeling in the moment like I don't want to get out of bed, and it's not because my body just needs rest because I'm sick or something like that, then I need to think differently than how I feel in order to get out of bed. Not with shoulding or shaming myself or whipping myself. Come on, you suck it up, just get up, get out of bed. Remember, that approach doesn't work. But what's the next easiest thing that I'm willing to do in the direction of getting out of bed? Well, the next easiest thing that I'm willing to do might not be getting out of bed. It might be I'm willing to stretch. I'm willing to yawn. I'm willing to pendiculate. I'm willing to, start to massage my body. I'm willing to take a deep breath. I'm willing to hold my breath. I'm willing to release it. And then as you do that, as you build those components, and this is what I mean by next easiest, small, tiny steps, even the act of getting out of bed can be broken down into 10 different things that you're willing to do before you step out of bed in a good way. And that's what I mean. So that's thinking greater than your body will result in you feeling a little bit, thinking greater than your body, which is your body's just throwing up a reaction like, oh, I don't want to get out of bed. That's kind of like if your body had a voice, it's saying, oh, I don't want to get out of bed. There's feeling tone to that. So, but when you think differently and you start following the grace and ease question and you start twisting and flexing and whatever. Now, I'm using a very small example, but this, hopefully you grok the principle. This principle is relevant everywhere in your life. Okay? And so when you start thinking differently, you start feeling differently. And by differently, I mean better. You start feeling better. And when you start feeling better, you want to feel more better. And so therefore, you start doing more. When you start doing more, you start getting more results. And you're, oh yeah, okay, wow, I'm actually glad that I'm up. Okay, great, yeah, I'm ready for the day. Here we go. So I'm thinking beyond my body. What is the reactive? What are my, because I'm instead of being reactive, we're working towards being creative. And we learned about how to be creative instead of reactive. Reactive is, the reactive condition is that I don't want to get out of bed. I'm reacting to the way my body feels. And those seem to be smushed together. The way my body feels and my reaction to the way my body feels, I don't want to get out of bed. Okay? So I'm thinking differently. That results in feeling differently. That results in acting differently. And this is not putting icing on a shit cake like a lot of the positive thinking movement. This is changing the whole cake. It's working with the ingredients and changing the ingredients from the bottom up. This is also not gaslighting or denying or minimizing. It is the opposite. It is recognizing things exactly as they are, saying, this sucks. I don't want it to suck more. I'd like it to suck less. And more than that, I'd like to feel great. So what am I going to do about it that is in my power and influence? And so maybe it's the environment. And of course, please understand that when I'm saying the environment, in this case, I'm not saying don't protect yourself from harm if there's something going on in the environment that is literally threatening you. But I do mean that maybe you're in an environment where, people are gossiping or complaining or whining. Well, I need to, and then the tendency is going to be to get into that complaining, whining, gossiping mode with them. And to start, and then all of a sudden, misery is loving company. And now you're feeling miserable like everybody else. So that's thinking equal to your environment. But if I think greater than my environment, I'm going to say, you know what? I'm not, okay. No need to teach anyone else a lesson here. That's not my role. But I'm not going to participate in this whining or gossiping. And I'm going to either try to skillfully shift. I'm going to think differently. So now I'm thinking creatively. Okay, well, what's a question that I could ask to, not be kind of, not be laying a trip on anyone, but to move the direct conversation in a different direction? Or Maybe I'm going to act differently, and that I'm going to say, well, you know what, this conversation seems really deeply entrenched, and it's not really my role to change it, but I am going to leave it. I am going to, politely excuse myself and say, oh, I need to be somewhere, and I can offer a nice cultural excuse and move on my way. So that's an example of thinking, feeling, and acting greater than the environment. Time. What about time? Oh, things aren't happening the way I want them to. I'm supposed to be feeling better by now. I'm supposed to be making more money by now. Oh, yeah. So the reaction is to time, which is that it's not happening as fast as I want it to be happening, or it's happening faster than I want it to be happening. So there's a reactive thoughts to that. Oh no, I'm lacking, or oh no, it's I'm still not feeling that good, and oh no. So thinking, feeling, and acting greater than time is saying, okay, well, even though maybe I'm not as wealthy as I'd like to be, well, I'm going to think, feel, and act greater than that sense of lack, which will lead me into a downward spiral of feeling despondent. And I'm going to still take powerful actions, look for opportunities, think creatively, be resourceful, take responsibility. And it is incumbent upon us to realize that we are, you are, I am the opportunity of the moment. My mentor, who is by no means Roman Catholic, is a little bit cheeky about this when he encourages us to confess. What do we confess? Not our sins, but our responsibility. And break that word down. Responsibility. I am able to respond. And I'm able to do the next easiest thing that I'm willing to do. I'm able to say, even though this sucks, aside from it sucking, especially because it sucks, and I don't want it to suck more, I value and choose to think differently than my body is compelling me to think. I value and choose to think differently than my current environment is compelling me to think. I value and choose to think differently than the timing is compelling me to think. When I think beyond what is arising in my body, my environment, and my time, which are all actually products of the past, I can come from someplace new and fresh. I can think the way I would if I were my one word. I can think newly in a refreshing, inspired way. That takes effort. That takes a deliberate, dedicated action. And when I do so, I will start to feel differently. When I start to feel different and new, I will get excited. And when I start to get excited, I start to act differently. And when I act differently, I get new results. So if it has sucked, then it starts sucking less. Until through deliberate, dedicated actions based on what I value and choose, based on my responsibility, I start to see it not just sucking less, but instead I'm noticing more joy, openness, love, kindness, awareness. You'll hear me refer to this as Jolka, a term that I borrowed also from my mentor. It doesn't need to be hard. Let it be easy. Let it grow natural. Let it be sustainable. Let it be kind. Follow the grace and ease question. What is the next easiest thing I am willing to do in the direction I value and choose? I kid you not, the smallest step you can take is the best step you can take. When you are right where you are and only doing what you are willing to do, you will genuinely feel better if you do just what you're willing to do. And when you feel better, you will genuinely want to feel more better. No should or shame about it. The most challenging part, and I will acknowledge that this is a challenge, is consistency and persistence. Keep going. Fall in love with the living moment and your inspiration, your challenge to think differently, to feel differently, to act differently, even in the tiniest ways, in the smidge in the right direction. Don't spend too much time wondering or especially worrying about results or the lack thereof. That puts you right back at effective time. Think, feel, and act greater than time by focusing on the timeless, which is this moment. Making the next best, easiest step you are willing to make, and you will feel better today easily, without any gimmicks, in a totally sustainable way that makes perfect sense. Continue, 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 even when it's hard, even when your body, environment, and time doesn't want you to, and you will open up to the miraculous. I also want to put in a plug here for the Joyful Excellence Mastermind. I'm going to date this episode by placing it in a cultural context. And we're at a time when people are potentially going to be losing access to health insurance and maybe having a hard time actually finding good mental health treatment. And this is not, by the way, not just for mental health treatment, it's for mental health and optimal performance. But the fact of the matter is most therapy doesn't work. And I don't know if you've noticed this, and I can't go totally into all the reasons why or all my, theories about this or all my quote unquote evidence, but I'll just say, look around out there. We are talking more about therapy. That's a good thing. There is less stigma about therapy. That's a good thing. We're talking more about mental health. That's a good thing. There's less stigma around mental health diagnosis. That's a good thing. But yet it's getting worse. Things are not getting better. So some arguments, maybe not the best word, but I'll make you some arguments in some other places about why I think that's the case, not to be negative for the sake of being negative, but to be constructive about how we can do better and what we need to do better. But one of the things is that community. We're craving for community. And so in response to one, a lack of good quality mental health services, two, in response to people's craving for connectivity and community and camaraderie and accountability. Three, because I've seen that it works better and is more enjoyable. And four, because, I want it to be affordable. I want it to be accessible. And five, because I'm also attempting to do something as an entrepreneur, which is scalable for me to support my family in a sustainable way. So I'm really shooting for a win-win here. And that is a community membership for mental health and optimal performance that you join like you would a gym, except for it's the stuff that really matters most. And you have an ongoing place where there is curriculum that you can go through at your own pace. There's regular meetings that you can drop in or not for the entire length or part of it. You can get group communal support. You can get individual one-on-one support. And so that's it. That's what the Joyful Excellence Mastermind is about. And so reach out and persist and get in there because it's good for you. All right, y'all. Together we thrive.
Charity, forces beyond our control can take everything except our freedom to choose. Choose love.